Hello, my name is Jared Crebs. I'm pictured here with my wife Crystal and our dog Tasia. We're Emerald Directors, co-founders of Team DSI, and tonight's training is going to be about the gems. And this comes from Dani Johnson, who is one of my mentors, somebody who's been very, very important to my development as a man, as a business person. She's just such a wonderful person, wonderful teacher, and we have learned so much from the gems mastery. Now, if you're watching this and you're like, what are gems? I don't even understand this. Basically, there's four personality traits or four types of personalities of people you will always encounter in your business and in your life. And if you can learn how to communicate with these four types of people, you're going to be very successful in business. I would venture to say that this training is probably one of the reasons why we've broken into a six-figure income with our USANA business. Not only that, me and my wife, I don't even think we would be married if it wasn't for the gems. I'm not kidding. I was actually an emerald. I am an emerald. My wife is a sapphire. You'll understand what that means in a minute. But we were not doing well when we were dating, and we went to the Dani Johnson trainings, and it was like we might not have been together until I learned about her and what a sapphire is. And she learned about me and what an emerald is, and we learned how to communicate with each other. And we learned how to speak each other's language. And it totally, totally made our relationship blossom. Today, we've been married now for over 2 years, and we speak each other's language all the time. It's just part of our daily routine. You're going to be able to tell who's a ruby, who's a pearl, who's a sapphire, and who's an emerald in your business and in every interaction in your life after this training. So let's just go into some distinctions here, and maybe you can screenshot this, but I hope you have a pen and paper out and you're ready to take some notes and learn, because this is really what it's all about. So first thing is, let's figure out what you are. You might be an emerald if your perfect gift is a new planner and color-coded stickers. You might be an emerald if your systems have systems. You might be an emerald if you often say, what's the bottom line? Right? You like to get to the point. If Microsoft Excel is your playground, if you love making spreadsheets, you might be an emerald. If you are never late, you may be an emerald. If you want to know all the details before you decide, you know those people in your USANA business that need to know every little thing about every little ingredient, about every little comp plan explanation? Well, those are your emeralds. So you gotta know how to deal with the emeralds, and we're going to be talking about that in a bit. So that's your emeralds. Now, you might be a ruby if your perfect gift is recognition, like a status symbol or a luxury brand. Everybody loves to be recognized, but rubies really love to be recognized. Also, you might be a ruby if you don't like playing, if you don't think you can win. Rubies will play, but sometimes they'll give up because they don't think they can win. So you might be a ruby if that's the case. You might be a ruby if you gravitate naturally towards leadership. You might be a ruby if you thrive off goals and challenges. And you might be a ruby if you can't stand complacency or lack of drive. So rubies are very driven. They always want to be first. They're very competitive, sometimes to a fault. Sometimes they won't eat or they won't take care of themselves because they're too busy working constantly. So the ruby, nothing is more powerful than a ruby with accountability. Write that down. Nothing is more powerful than a ruby with accountability. Next, you might be a sapphire if your perfect gift is a group experience or game. If you love to have fun, if fun is your motivating factor, you might be a sapphire. You might be a sapphire if you believe rules were made to be broken, especially if they stop your fun. Also, you might be a sapphire if you love being the limelight. You might be a sapphire if your desk is a mess and you're always 10 minutes late. And you might be a sapphire if your energy is contagious, you light up the room, and you spread positivity. All right, now you may be a pearl. Let's talk about pearls. You might be a pearl if your perfect gift is personalized or shows that someone was thinking of you especially. You know, like Things Remembered, that store in the mall. That's a great store for pearls because you can make personalized pens and personalized, glasses and picture frames. You also might be a pearl if you hate confrontation. You might be a pearl if you thrive on being part of something bigger than yourself. Pearls are very much about volunteering, being part of a cause, and they love to be part of a cause. They love to be part of something bigger than themselves. You might be a pearl if you're likely quiet or introverted and calm. And you might be a pearl because people know they can count on you, and sometimes they take advantage of that. Sometimes that happens to a pearl. They have, they lend money to friends and family members that don't pay them back, and they just let them kind of get away with it. Or they just help someone so much that they end up, like a doormat, and the person might take advantage of them. So that's kind of like one of the challenges of the pearls, is to stand up for themselves. Or if you like to give your USANA products away without receiving money for it, then you might be a pearl. And so the pearl has to learn how to stand up for themselves a little bit, and it's okay to receive money for your products and not give away the farm. So these are some things about pearls that pearls can work on and improve. Now we're going to talk about each one of these gems, and we're going to basically talk about their strengths and their weaknesses and where they can improve. Now, the beautiful thing is about these gems is God made us this way. And the thing I learned the most about this is not necessarily to try and make a sapphire into an emerald. I think that was the problem with me and my wife. I was trying to turn her into an emerald, and that created a lot of conflict in our life. And then she thought that I was just too uptight and not any fun. So that created conflict. When I learned that I need to let her be her strengths, I need to let her do her things that she does best. And then I need to not criticize the sapphire, because as an emerald, I'm naturally critical, and the sapphires close down if they don't, if there's a lot of criticism. The best way to build up a sapphire is to actually build on small wins. In fact, that's the best way to build up everybody. Build on small wins. Unless you're an emerald, then the emerald wants to know what they're doing wrong and how they can fix it. So you really got to know which gem people operate in. The other thing, before I talk about each one specifically, is that you have a primary gem and a secondary gem. So you may be a sapphire as your primary and your secondary is a ruby. Or you may be a sapphire and your secondary is a pearl. Or you may be a pearl and your secondary is a sapphire. Okay, so myself, my primary is an emerald. I'm primarily an emerald, but my secondary is a ruby. So I'm very detail-oriented, but I'm competitive. So everybody's different. And actually, I know many of you who are watching this right now you know my number, you know my cell phone number. I would like you to text me and tell me which gem you think you are, or which gem you are, because we're about to talk about this in a minute. So please send me a text. My number is 210-860-9001. If you don't know my number, I'd love to hear from you. Tell me if you're an emerald, ruby, sapphire, or a pearl. Again, my number is 210-860-9001. And here we go. So we're going to talk about sapphires first. Sapphires are the life of the party. When you're a sapphire, many of you sapphires have damaged hair because you're always coloring it. Many of you sapphires work in retail because it's fun to work in retail, and that's where your strengths are. Many of you sapphires have messy rooms because that's just who you are. That's your sapphire. That's what it is. I married a sapphire. I love her, even with the rooms. Oh, I'm getting some text right now. Patty Garcia's a ruby. Andrea Hall's a pearl. Becky Armstrong's a sapphire ruby. Renee Martinez is a ruby all the way. And Phyllis Walker says, I thought I was a sapphire, but looks like I'm a pearl. Viola Krebs is an emerald. Luis Sanchez is a sapphire. Claudia Zacharias, what are you? He said, can there be more than one? Jared Harris is a pearl. Okay, so all of you are different. So definitely take notes on the gems that you are not, because you are going to deal with sapphires in your business. Now, specifically with USANA, when you find that somebody's motivated by fun, you need to talk to them about fun, not necessarily about helping people, not necessarily about making money. You need to say, like, for example, if you want a sapphire to do something, you need to tell the sapphire how fun it's going to be. So, for example, let's say that the event's coming up for national celebration. For a sapphire, I'd be like, Becky, this event is going to be so much fun. You're going to be at this event. You're going to be meeting all these people. You're going to be enjoying it. You're going to be, you're just going to be having a blast. And we'll probably be doing all kinds of things all night just because it's going to be so much fun. That's going to motivate a sapphire. Now, if you tell the sapphire, you're going to learn so many details at this event. You're going to get all the little, tricks and strategies. Like that's going to actually turn the sapphire off if the sapphire feels like it's going to be boring. So make sure you talk to your sapphire and tell them how fun it's going to be. And when you realize that they're a sapphire, let them organize your parties. Their best thing is to organize parties. If they sapphires love to do mixers. They love to put the mixers together. Okay. Now that's the strengths of the sapphire. Okay. And if you have a team event, let the sapphires plan it. But here's the thing about sapphire. They don't do follow-up very good. So the sapphire can start it up. They can really get it going. They can contact 50 people in a week about their business. But guess what? They're not organized enough to follow up and follow through. So when I work with the sapphire, I'm actually helping them follow up. I'm talking to them about following up. It's not that the sapphire doesn't want to. It's that the sapphire isn't, they're just not inclined to do that. Now, I don't want that to be an excuse for you sapphires, because you sapphires might be laughing right now saying, oh, geez, I'm bad at follow-up. Well, guess what? You want to become a refined sapphire. See, because most people don't even know they're a sapphire. But if you're a refined sapphire, then guess what? You will make big efforts to follow up. And you know that that's a weakness, so you really work on that. And now you're actually speaking the language of an emerald. And so you can actually relate to those emeralds. Because if you're a sapphire and you sign up an emerald, that's another thing. Don't tell your emerald how fun it's going to be. Tell your emerald that they're going to get training. Tell your emerald they're going to get all the strategies they need to be successful and learn about all the systems. So that's a refined sapphire. A refined sapphire is going to learn how to talk the language of an emerald. A refined sapphire will talk the language of a ruby, which is, you're going to make a lot of money if you go to this event. You tell that to a ruby, the ruby's going to be there. Okay. Now, you want to be a refined sapphire and talk to a pearl? You say, you're going to help a lot of people by going to this. Everything you learn here is going to help so many people. And that's when you're a refined sapphire. You're a sapphire that can speak all the languages of the gems. Okay, so that's sapphire. Now let's go to pearl. So pearl, someone who's a pearl is actually kind of like a sapphire. They call pearls sapphire light. Okay. Maybe you're not as outrageous as a sapphire, but you still like to have fun, but you like things more relaxed. A pearl's going to listen to more relaxing music. They're going to be more chill. A pearl is very caring, very, very loving, very non-confrontational. And you pearls, you actually have the best chances of signing people up because you're non-confrontational and you're not threatening. So you don't occur as threatening to somebody. So a pearl actually can enroll a lot of people. And when I was at the Dani Johnson events and I was learning about this, they said, stand up if you're a millionaire. And guess what? People stood up who are millionaires who are pearls. People who stood up as millionaires as sapphires. People who stood up who are millionaires as rubies. And people stood up who are millionaires as emeralds. So just because you're at one gem or the other doesn't mean you're going to not make it in business. It just means that that's your strengths and you need to know how to speak those languages. So a pearl wants to help people. A pearl is motivated by a cause. A pearl will put others' needs before themselves, almost to a detriment. So pearls, you guys need to definitely put yourself first still, help others, but don't let them walk all over you. If someone owes you money, you need to say something like, hey, I love you, I support you, and I'm asking you to pay me back on this day because it's really important to me. You have to actually say stuff like that if you're a pearl and you've lent someone money. Pearls give away, like I said, give away products for free, sometimes to a detriment. I know you want to help people, but if they don't pay for it, they won't value it. So you would say, you know what, if I could, I would give you this for free, but we know that people value what they pay for, and this is going to tremendously impact your life. I would be doing you a disservice if I gave you this for free. So yes, your Essentials will be $52 plus tax and shipping. And that's what you got to do as a pearl. Now the pearls are the greatest people because they're motivated by something bigger than themselves. The pearls are like famous pearls would be like Mahatma Gandhi. He was a pearl. Someone that's nonviolent, someone that's non-confrontational, someone that's peaceful. That's very powerful. And when your motivation is coming from a pearl's motivation, you're actually going to be very successful. All of us can learn from the pearls, especially the rubies and emeralds like me, because if your heart is like a heart of a pearl, if you're all about helping people, that's going to come through in your business. So you pearls, when you deal with a ruby, remember that you need to talk to the ruby like you have to talk to them about money. You have to talk to them about being the best. Pearls don't care about being the best, but remember, you're going to be a refined pearl. A refined pearl can speak all the languages. A refined pearl can speak the ruby's language, can speak the sapphire's language, can speak the emerald's language. So if you're a pearl and you need to talk to that ruby, you need to talk to them about being the best. Don't be afraid of the rubies. Sometimes I know the rubies are intimidating, but they're really teddy bears in the end. Okay, so you want to be a refined pearl. Also talk to the sapphires about having fun. Talk to the emeralds about systems. Talk to the emeralds about details and strategies. The emeralds will love that. If you're dealing with an emerald, be on time. If you're dealing with a sapphire, you don't have to be on time, but you probably should understand if the sapphire is late. Don't get all mad at the sapphire. Of course, you're a pearl. You probably wouldn't get mad at the sapphire anyways. But I'm talking to you rubies and you emeralds mostly. So remember, our goal is to figure out what we are as primary and secondary, but then also to make sure that we can speak the language of each gem. Okay, so let's move on to the emeralds. Now, the emeralds, basically, an emerald is somebody who is motivated by facts and figures. The emerald's spiritual gift is wisdom. Oh, I need to tell you guys the spiritual gifts of each of them. So let's go back. The spiritual gift of a sapphire is encouragement. That's their spiritual gift. That's their natural gift. The spiritual gift of a pearl is giving, is a big heart. That's a spiritual gift of a pearl. Spiritual gift of an emerald is wisdom. Why? Because the emerald's going to think it through. The emerald's going to weigh all the pros and weigh all the cons. They're going to really think things through before they take action, almost to a detriment. Sometimes you emeralds, you can get stuck analyzing all the pros and all the cons and not take action. So that's the challenge for the emeralds is yes, you definitely need to think about the pros and cons, but make sure that you're taking action regularly. The other thing about the emeralds is great is emeralds usually always have money because they think about their money before they spend it. Emeralds' spiritual gift is wisdom, so they're thinking ahead all the time. Emeralds are great with systems. If you need somebody to make a price list, have an emerald help you. If you need someone to make an Excel spreadsheet, have an emerald help you. If you need somebody to do something that's very detail-oriented, have an emerald help you. Here's the thing. Don't force your sapphires to become emeralds. If you're an emerald, which I'm talking to myself right now, if you're an emerald, don't ask the sapphires to do every little detailed thing because they won't do it. And they'll think the business is really hard. Not everybody fills out the weekly action plans perfectly, but I know because I'm a refined emerald that I don't need to go chase everyone down about that. I'm just happy they're doing a weekly action plan, you know? And that's more of a refined emerald because I know that like the rubies and the sapphires, they're not going to be paying attention to all those details. Okay, now it's important to pay attention to details. So if you want to be a refined sapphire and a refined ruby, pay more attention to detail. But the spiritual strength of an emerald is details. So like emeralds will write you a long, long email. You know who you are, emeralds, and they'll write like a 17-point email. And it's like, did you read point 9, second paragraph of my email? And the sapphires will say, no, I didn't read your email. They opened it up and they deleted it because it was too much, right? Or the rubies the pearls will just say they read it to make the emerald happy. Now you emeralds, you need to be nicer, okay? And this was my problem as an emerald is I was so like critical, especially of my wife. I don't think I was as bad in my business, but with Crystal, man, she's a sapphire. So if she was messy or if she just wasn't, perfect, I would be like on her case all the time about everything. And I really needed to stop that for us to have a healthy relationship, to build on the good things she was doing and build on the wins. And that has really, really helped us. I know that we would not be together if it wasn't for gems. Thank goodness for gems. So emeralds, be nice to your fellow rubies, sapphires, and pearls, and don't be critical. Instead, learn how to build on their wins. You know who else needs that? Rubies. Talk about all the positive things that the rubies are doing. Tell them how great they are. Tell them how great they are, like times 10, and then give them a little bit of feedback, something they could change, and then tell them how great they are again. Rubies need that. You know what? Emerald, everybody needs that. But emeralds need to really work on speaking the language of not being too critical and building on the big wins. But the great thing about emeralds is they're going to be solid people in your business. They're going to be loyal. They're going to be consistent. They're going to be faithful. And emeralds are awesome, awesome people because you can count on them. You can trust them. If you need something done that's really important, someone you can trust is an emerald. Okay? So that's your emeralds. Now let's go to rubies. Okay, guys. So rubies, this is the most motivated person in the group. The ruby wants to be the best and they want to be first. However, this is a low level of leadership because the ruby is not promoting other people to be first. So if you want to be a refined ruby, try creating leaders and creating other people to be the best. Become an expert at creating not other rubies, but creating leaders that pass you up in income, that pass you up in success, because then you'll be a very wealthy ruby. Rubies are so cool because they work really, really hard, but their strength is also their curse, because you rubies, you know who you are. You work so hard that you actually burn yourself out. You work so hard that you forget to eat, and you skip lunch and you skip dinner. Maybe you didn't even have breakfast, and then 10 o'clock comes around and you make up for all that lost time and you eat a ton late at night. And what does that do? That's not good for you, rubies. So rubies need to learn how to slow down, and rubies are so driven that that's very hard for them. That's why you rubies, I want to challenge you to seek accountability. Find an accountability partner. Find somebody that will help you slow down or help you be balanced, because you're going to work hard naturally. But find somebody that you can have accountability with, because Dani Johnson says that a ruby with accountability is the most powerful person in the world. There's no one more powerful than a ruby with accountability, with a ruby who is teachable, with a ruby who listens. Because again, the rubies are the hardest workers. The rubies are always the leaders. But if they actually have accountability and they actually slow down and they have balance with their hardcore work ethic, then they're going to stay the long haul. Hey, rubies out there, you know who you are. Have you ever gotten burnt out? I know I have as a Ruby, and that's exactly that's an example of a Ruby without accountability. So seek for accountability, you Rubies, and you'll be a refined Ruby. Now, Rubies, when you're dealing with your fellow pearls, be nice to the pearls. Don't be so hardcore about the pearls. Don't tell the pearls how much money they're going to make in their USANA business. Tell the pearls how much people they're going to help. Tell the pearls things about helping other people. Be softer with the pearls. Don't offend everybody. I sound like I'm being really hard on the Rubies, but sometimes the Rubies, they offend people because they're so direct. And hey, all of you Sapphires, Pearls, and Emeralds, don't take it personally. The Ruby actually has a huge heart. The Ruby actually usually works so hard because they want to provide for their family, or they want to do something for the people that they love, and so they're working so hard. But you refined Sapphires, you refined Emeralds, and refined Pearls, don't take it personal if the Ruby insults you, because they're a Ruby. Sometimes they don't know what they're doing. And so you have to just like take it with a grain of salt and don't freak out. That's if you're refined. Now remember, all of your prospects, they're not refined because they haven't gotten this training. So you gotta understand your prospects, man. You Rubies, you better talk nice to those pearls or they're gonna run away. You need pearls in your business. Pearls give stability to your business. Pearls give the people that come to all the events. Pearls are the ones that stay on auto order. Okay, and Emeralds as well, and Sapphires, they all do. But so that Rubies, that's how you got to deal with pearls. Okay, kind of a little softer. Now Rubies, when you deal with Sapphires, make it fun. And that's easy. Many people are Ruby and then Sapphire as a secondary. But make it fun and work on their strengths, but try and find someone to help them do follow-up, right? Rubies dealing with Emeralds, that usually goes pretty good. I think it's Rubies and Pearls. That's the opposites. But that's one of the main things that my advice to Rubies. And again, the Rubies' spiritual gift is leadership. The Rubies are definitely the ones that are the movers and shakers in the world, and we need Rubies. In fact, we need them all. We need all the gems. So that concludes our training on the gems, and I hope that you take this and you really use it in your everyday life. Figure out the gem of your significant other. Figure out the gem of your prospects. Every time I talk to a prospect, usually within about a minute or two, I can figure out if they're a Ruby, an Emerald, a Sapphire, or a Pearl. And when I figure out their gem, then I talk to them in their language because I'm a refined Sapphire. I'm sorry, I'm a refined Emerald. But I've become a lot more Sapphire. Also, try and do your weaknesses. If you know you're not very Sapphire, if you're too Emerald, or if you're too Pearl, or too Ruby, then try and be a little bit more Sapphire. Try and have a little more fun. Try and dress a little loud. If you're a Pearl, try and be more like a Ruby. Try and add some of that to you. The goal is to be in the middle. The goal is to be like to have all the best of each one of them. But you're naturally going to have whatever gem. But the main thing is you have to know what your prospects are. And you want to teach them this. So this will be a video that we can give to our team and we can use in the future. So I want to thank you for being on this training. I look forward to hearing about your success using the gems with all of your USANA clients and associates.